Dear students, we are moving towards the last part of the topic lifting the corporate veil. Now we are going to discuss about the statutory provisions or the cases in which court can lift the veil between the company and the members. You can say the statutory provisions to the notion of separate legal entity. These are statutory exceptions to corporate personality and the statutory provisions or the cases in which court can lift the veil between the company and its members. So, first case is misstatement in the prospectus. Under section 26 subsection 9 section 34 section 35 of Companies Act, it is a punishable offence to give wrong statement in the prospectus of the company. Here I would first of all like to explain what is prospectus. Prospectus is an important document which needs to be issued at the time of issuance of shares by the company. So, prospectus is a document which provides clear and factual information about the company. On the basis of that information, people decide to invest or not to invest in a particular company. So, if any misstatement is given in the prospectus, any wrong statement is given in the prospectus, then every person who is in the default will be punishable. In that case, every person who is in default will be considered personally liable for that misstatement in the prospectus. In that case, the notion of separate legal entity will be disregarded because the company and the people behind the company will not be considered separate in that point of time, because it is not the company which is giving wrong statement in the prospectus. It is the people behind the company who are giving wrong statement in the prospectus. So they will be held personally liable. They cannot take the protection of separate legal entity in this case. They cannot say that the prospectus is issued by the company, not by them. No, the misstatement is given by them only and they will be held personally liable. In this case, the court will lift the veil between the company and its members. Second point is failure to refund application money. Whenever a company issues shares to the public, company has to receive minimum subscription as stated in the prospectus within 30 days of issuance of the prospectus. जब भी कंपनी पब्लिक इशू लेके आती है, प्रॉस्पेक्टस इशू होने के 30 दिन के अंदर मिनिमम सब्सक्रिप्शन जो कि जनरली 90% होती है वो रिसीव होनी ज़रूरी होती है कंपनी को. और अगर कंपनी मिनिमम सब्सक्रिप्शन रिसीव नहीं कर पाती, मिनिमम सब्सक्रिप्शन का मतलब है कि कितने लोग सब्सक्राइब कर रहे हैं शेयर्स को, कितने लोगों ने पैसा लगाया है उन शेयर्स में, और अगर कंपनी मिनिमम सब्सक्रिप्शन रिसीव नहीं कर पाती तो अगले 15 दिनों के अंदर द कंपनी हैज़ टू रिफंड द एप्लीकेशन मनी ऑफ द people who have applied for the shares in the company. When such money is not refunded within that time period, the directors and officers of the company who are in default will be held personally liable for that money. The company will not be held liable. The people behind the company will be held liable if the company fails to return application money. So in this case also, company and the people behind the company will not be considered separate. They cannot take the shelter of again corporate personality. They cannot say that company has not refunded the money, because it is the people behind the company who have not refunded the application money. Next point is misdescription of company's name. According to section 12 of Companies Act 2013, every company will have its name printed upon all its important documents, because company is recognized by its name. If any default is made in complying with the provisions of this section, the company and every officer who is in default will be held personally liable to pay the penalty. So if the company's name is misdescribed and is not properly mentioned on any important document of the company, in that case the person who is responsible will be held personally responsible to pay the applicable penalty. The company will not only be held liable here, the person behind the company will also be held liable. Next point is for investigation of ownership of the companies. Under section 216 of the Companies Act 2013, central government has authority to appoint inspectors to investigate and report the matters relating to a company and its membership for the purpose of determining the true people financially interested in the success and failure of the company, control or materially influence the policies of the company. So whenever an inspector is appointed by central government to investigate into the company, in that case that inspector has 100% right to consider the company and the people behind the company as same identity. In this case also the court can disregard the notion of separate legal entity. Next point is fraudulent conduct. Under section 339 of the Act, in case of winding up of the company, if it is found that company's name was being used for carrying out any fraudulent conduct and activity, then also the court can hold the personal liable for that fraud. In that case, not only the company is responsible, the people behind the company who has committed that fraud will be held personally liable, and in this case also court will disregard the notion of separate legal entity. Next is for inducing persons to invest money in the company. Under section 36 of Companies Act 2013, any person making false, descriptive, misleading, untrue statements to any person to induce that person to invest in the company and to enter into any agreement with the company will also be held personally liable under section 447 of the Companies Act 2013. Next is for furnishing false statements. Under section 448 of the Act, if in any return, any report, prospectus, document, any person makes false or untrue statements and conceals any fact will also be held liable. Otherwise, we have discussed this point under misstatement in the prospectus. Basically, the points have been segregated under 2 points, sub-points. One is misstatement and second is false statement. Otherwise, you can take it together as well. So, this was all about statutory provisions. I hope the topic is clear with you all. Now, we'll have query session on this topic in your class at Google Meet. Thank you.